Hey, so hello everyone and welcome. I'm Deborah Alabi and I'm excited to share some fascinating facts about one of nature's most remarkable survivors, the cactus. Today we'll explore how these amazing plants have adapted to thrive in the harsh desert environment, focusing on how we get their energy and stay alive in such dry places. And now we move on to the second slide. The title of the second slide is called The Desert Dwellers, adapting to the dry life. Cacti mainly live in deserts where it is very dry, so they are known to grow in the desert, which is a dry area, and they're able to thrive in such places, and compared to other plants that mainly thrive probably in water-placed areas. Also, secondly, they are built to store water and survive extreme heat. So they have the ability to store water in the stem, which allow them to stay and survive in extreme heat compared to other plants who probably might not be able to survive for long or stay in extreme places with extreme heat. They also have unique features like spine and waxy skin, which allows them to survive and thrive in such type of areas and places where other plants might not survive in. Then beside we have images of 12 of my favorites in the cacti types. We have the African milk tree, which is a type of cacti that can be grown or kept indoors and doesn't necessarily have to be on in the desert with a lot of sand, but can be placed indoor under the right temperature and the right concentration. And then we have the chain cactus, the bishop cap, the angel wings cactus, the different types of cactus depending on type and the structure of their growth. Then we move on to the next slide, which talks about the sun energy making food from photosynthesis. So just like how plants use sunlight for their food, cacti as well also use the sun for their food. And we can see beside we have some points which says cacti use sunlight, water, and air to make their food through photosynthesis. Cacti uses photosynthesis to convert the sunlight into energy, and then the green part of the cacti, mainly the stem of the cactus, mainly the stem contains chlorophyll, a pigment that captures the sun's energy. So that pigment helps in capturing the sun's energy, usually the stem, which is used to process the food. And then carbon dioxide, which we as human release, enters, and oxygen is released from their body. Carbon dioxide enters them and oxygen is released. This process creates sugar, which is glucose, which the cacti uses as food for themselves. So they convert the process, creates sugar, which the cactus uses as food. And here we can see that cacti come in different shapes and sizes. Some plants store water in their roots, stems, leaves, or fruits. These are called succulents. These are the places where water is being stored for them to use. Some plants have a horizontal root system just below the surface. So they have horizontal system just below the surface. And at night, they have a process in which they have help in storing water by themselves. Like at night, water stress is reduced. The stomata is opened because during the process, they can be able to lose heat and not lose too much water in the presence of opening up their stomata. But during the day, they close it up because stomata are closed, because during the heat in the day, you can lose a lot of water, which is not safe, and then they open it during the night. And then after this, we move on to the next slide, which is water-wise, holding onto precious water. So one of the cacti's greatest ability is conserving water. Its thick, fleshy stem acts like a water reservoir, holding large amounts of moisture, which helps to keep it moist inside. And then the waxy coating on the surface helps to seal in that water and prevent evaporation. So the waxy coating helps to reduce evaporation, which is the loss of water, reduces it from losing water unnecessarily. And then we have the spines, which protects from thirsty animals and reduces water loss by creating shades and reducing airflow. So the spine helps by creating a shade so too much heat doesn't enter them and reduces airflow. And you have special stomata, which opens at night to take in and CO2 when it is cooler and less water evaporation occurs. So you can see it here. It is shown here from the image, the anatomy of a cactus. We have the flowers on top, which performs the reproductive function. So the flower on top help perform the reproductive functions, and then the stem segment help the cacti to store water, just like we've seen and heard before. And then we have the skin, which prevents water evaporation and protects of against insects. And it helps to protect it against insects. And after this, we move on to the next slide, which is talking about enzymes, power of nature, nature's little helpers. Enzymes are like catalysts. They help to speed up the rate of a chemical reaction without being changed themselves in the process. So this enzyme helps to break down sugar for energy. In cactus as well as in human beings, they help to break down energy, like the way we have the lipases, the pepsin in the human body. They break it down, or the enzyme produced in the pancreatic juice is broken down for sugar, for energy. And they also help build new structures like the waxy coating, which protects from predators. It helps to build it around the body to protect it from predators around. And without enzymes, the reaction would be too slow to keep the cactus alive. So they need these enzymes to help the reaction of the cacti to happen at a pace where it's not too slow and doesn't affect the well-being or the life of the cactus. Or the life of the cactus, for it to survive and to thrive in the environment. And then after this, and here beside, we also have a diagram showing using a lock and key model of how we have the key has a substrate, the lock has the enzyme, the lock and key complex. So the substrate, and goes into the active sites, which is the enzyme substrate complex, which is then broken down to get the energy needed for the body. Then after this, we have powering up ATP and cellular respiration. So the cacti uses glucose, sugar as the fuel, just like in human beings. We need glucose, sugar to help in having energy and to need energy to carry out our daily activities. Cellular respiration is the process of breaking down glucose to release energy. This energy is stored in molecules like ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate, ATP, is like the cactus battery, powering everything it does. So this is needed for energy for the cactus. Without this, the cactus can't perform or carry out activities efficiently. So in each cacti, they need this process, ATP, which stores the energy. Energy stored in molecules called ATP, which is like the battery powering everything it does. And then we have the process here, photosynthesis and cellular respiration. We have for cellular respiration, we have CH2, which is carbon dioxide, and hydrogen oxide, which is then goes through the process through solar energy, chloroplast, which is found in plants to provide them with the energy that they need to perform and work efficiently. And then after this, we have tricks of the trade, adapting to thrive. So all these parts help them in thriving and adapting to the changes that happen in the deserts and be able to change and adapt with the environment. Firstly, we have the spines, which helps to protect against animals and reduce water loss by creating shades. Stems now, with the spines, we see them help to reduce water loss during evaporation. They absorb and reflect light to keep the plants cool. They deter animals from feeding on the plants. The spiky parts of them, that's what they do. They collect dew, fogs, and other water sources and direct it to the plant's roots. So when they collect dew, fog, and things that could have water in them, they direct them to the roots of the plants for them to have water. And then they have shallow widespread roots which quickly absorb water from the rain. So they have the roots, which is shallow to collect water surface, and they use it to collect water, which is the roots absorb water from rain and stores it in them. And then we have the cellulosic acid metabolism, crassulacean acid metabolism, which is calm. The cacti open stomata at night to absorb carbon dioxide, minimizing water loss during the hot day. So yes, cacti open up themselves at night because at night is a lot cooler than in the day. So they open themselves up at night to allow for them to feel cool and relaxed and close themselves up in the morning when the sun is out. Also, we have the stem, which is the green stem, stores water and contains chlorophyll for photosynthesis. So the stem is used for photosynthesis, thick stems, and they used to store water as well for the plants and the animals. And then we have the conclusion parts. We have cacti, they're amazing desert survivors. Cacti are masters of survival, adapting to the harshest environments ever. Because compared to other plants who mainly survive in water or where water is, they have the ability to survive in where not a lot of water is. And then we have photosynthesis, water conservation, enzymes, and cellular respiration are all crucial for their survivors. So they need water, photosynthesis for survival, like most plants and animals to do. And then we also have the unique adaptation, makes them fascinating and important to the ecosystem. Like one of the cacti mentioned here, the saguaro cactus, which is drinks sago. These are animals that usually drink from them. We have the little mosquito, the pigeon, also bats as well, and some birds actually have the ability to live in them, like the street birds here, and they eat. And this tortoise and the ants have the ability to eat from the cactus plant, even though it has those pointy, sticky spines outside, which could be dangerous for someone, but they have the ability to eat from them and also to live in them. And also we can see that the longer a cactus is, the older it is. So a small one is usually younger than a longer or a big one. Yes, than a big one. And then finally we have the conclusion parts, which is a list of all the references and the sources being used. And so in conclusion, cacti are truly remarkable examples of adaptation and resilience, from capturing sunlight and conserving water to utilize enzymes and converting food into energy. They've evolved into different parts and able to thrive irrespective of the situation, the circumstances they face. And here we see a very huge cactus that is thriving in a desert environment where most plants or animals cannot really thrive. So which shows how great and how powerful a cactus is. And the list of references from the various sources are listed here at the end. Thank you for listening.